Thanks to Dave Ring of Premier Broadcasting, Pat and Dustin Gibbon of Merge Heat and Air. I sat down yesterday with the new head boys basketball coach at Effingham High School, Nick Painter. Here's our conversation. Hope you guys all enjoy. We're here with the new head boys basketball coach at Effingham High School, Nick Painter. What are your thoughts and kind of what's going through your mind?
First of all, I'm greatly appreciative for the opportunity. I've spent the last 2 years as a volunteer assistant under Coach Thompson, and I want to thank him for allowing me that opportunity. He's really put his trust in me and allowed me to grow as a coach and personally. Thoughts are I'm really excited. I think we've got a great group coming back. I know we've got a lot of work to do, but the goals that we're going to have at the end of the year, I think are they're going to be able to be accomplished through that hard work, and it really starts with this summer.
You're a Florida grad. You played basketball in high school and college. Talk about being a player, but now being a coach, and what are the differences, and what are you kind of looking at that range?
Yeah, it's a good question. Fortunately, I've had a really great background to lean on. My stepdad, he played and coached in college. So from a young age, I was able to pick up a lot, and he's taught me a lot. And from there, Coach Lieb, Coach Ray at Lincoln Trail, Coach Licklider at Marion, I've been able to learn and grow and develop as a player. And there's definitely differences between playing and coaching. In the last few years, again under Coach Thompson, he's allowed me to bounce a lot of those ideas off of him. Learn to communicate in the proper way. And really try to connect with this group.
Why do you feel like you are the right one to lead this program for the Hearts?
Again, that's a really great question. I think the last few years I've had the unique opportunity to to be in the locker room, to really sit with the players and learn, and I think it allows me to get a deeper understanding of what needs to be done. Again, I really appreciate the work that Coach Thompson has put in the last few years. And I think my background is really going to allow me to excel.
You mentioned before how being under Coach Mack, but now being assistant, what exactly did you learn from Coach Thompson to get you that level of head coach and taking over the program?
Yeah, there's a lot of day-to-day operation stuff, like putting together practice plans, scouting, all the way down to youth program. There's, as a coach, there's more than just, game day. There's a lot that goes into it. And I think Coach Thompson did a great job daily in practice trying to set us up for, that game speed. And those are just a few things that I would take away from him.
What is your plan on developing the youth program from the bottom all the way to the top?
Again, fortunately, Coach Thompson has really set this thing up to succeed. I know it needed a lot of love, and I know the last few years we've really increased our numbers. So I look at things like camps and youth league later in the year. I think eventually I would like to get to a point where we're having multiple camps and maybe more skill specific type of things like a shooting camp or a big man camp.
From a coaching style, what style of play do you plan to play at Effingham?
I expect to play a hard-nosed, disciplined style of basketball. It's going to start on the defensive end. In order to earn playing time, you're really going to have to show it on the defensive end and rebounding specifically. I think when we move on to the offensive side, we're going to try to stay as disciplined as we can, but we're going to have some free flow and utilize our athletes to run if we need to.
What about this job that stood out to you the most, that you were most interested in?
Effingham's got a rich history in basketball. I think that's first and foremost, but I think the second biggest thing is the kids. I've again been around for the last few years, been able to get to know this group, and I really want to see them succeed and set those goals and hopefully take us to the next level.
What goals would you like to accomplish with this program?
That's the $1 million question each year. I think this year, first and foremost, I think it's gonna look like a 20+ win team, and I think we're gonna look to compete for a conference title and a regional title. Long term, I think with the style that we're gonna play, It's going to allow us to be competitive year in and year out. I would prefer not to take the big dips, and stick around that 500 mark even on tougher years. So it's going to take a lot of work to get there, but we're going to instill those principles to make sure that happens.
When you got this job, was it a full circle moment for you, not just for yourself, but also for your family? And kind of what went through your mind? Of I'm sure you were very overwhelmed.
Yeah, it definitely was a full circle moment. At the time, whenever the position came open, I was actually kind of in the process of having a newborn baby. And before the season ended, I discussed with my wife, eventually, some point down the line, I would love to be a head coach. And so, while that was going on, while I was home, the position opened up, and I was able to interview for it. And so, we're really excited. There was some time in between the interview process and when the selection was made, but we're very excited. My wife has been super supportive, and I'm excited to have those moments of now after having a baby, getting to come to home to her and baby afterwards, and hopefully after a lot of wins.
How excited are you just to get to work with these young men?
Very excited, very anxious. I think while I was on paternity leave, I probably spent too much time looking up, and researching different, aspects of the game, and trying to work on having those principles in line before the job was announced. I, I think we've got a couple guys specifically that I'm really looking forward to getting into the gym with. We've got some shooting to work on, definitely some ball handling, but I'm very excited, and I can't wait for the summer to start, to get in the weight room, get in the gym, and see how our guys develop.
Has there been any certain advice now that you're the head coach that you've been given from other coaches on kind of how to handle certain situations?
Yeah, I think the first thing that jumps out to me is the focus on relationships. I think there's been some thoughts about kids don't want to be coached hard today, and I completely disagree with that. I think that in order to coach hard and to get the most out of them, you need to have you need to have a good relationship with them, and that's on a day-to-day basis. And so, like any level that I've been at, I've been fortunate to be with some coaches that have good relationships with their players, and it stands out because then you see those relationships then extended after their playing time and their graduation. They end up back on other each other's staffs. I've been to some weddings of former players and coaches. So yeah, relationships are so important in this game.
Wish you nothing but the best at Effingham. I know you're going to do a great job. Appreciate you taking time for me, but most importantly, good luck with the program.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to get started, and hope to work with you quite a bit over the next few years.
This first photo is courtesy of Aaron Hartkey.